Houston Real Estate Radio starts right now.
Thanks for tuning in to Houston Real Estate Radio. I'm Shannon Register.
I'm James Brown.
And here on Houston Real Estate Radio, we like to bring you news and information that you can use on your next real estate transaction. If you've got a question, you can give us a call, 281-882-8088, and we'll be happy to answer your real estate questions here on the air. If we answer your question, you will be eligible for one of our buyer's guides. James and I still have a few of those left, and they are full of great information if you're thinking about buying any properties in the next year. So some great information there. If you miss any of the show, and it's going to be a great show today, so if you miss any of it, make sure you go to HoustonRealEstateRadio.com and catch up on any segments that you miss. We videotape all the segments, so you can catch up there. We are going to be talking today about some senior housing options. There are so many options now for seniors that just weren't even out several decades ago. Things have changed so much, so many options, and so really great show lined up for you, and it could be very beneficial to someone. So if you think it would be beneficial to someone, send them to the website, and they can certainly catch up on all the information there. We're going to start off today with Rick Veale. He is from Ameripro Funding, and he's going to be talking with us about reverse mortgages. There's been so much information out there on reverse mortgages for the last, I would say at least the last decade, Rick, and so much of it is controversial. So I want you to clarify a lot of that for us.
Well, first of all, thank you, Shannon, so much. Ameripro Funding values our relationship with Register so highly. I think that you're right that reverse mortgages have had somewhat of a negative, left somewhat of a negative impression with a lot of people, and for some good reasons and some not so good. But basically, I think it's an understanding of what kind of program that people should be looking at to solve their problems, and to look at a reverse mortgage maybe as a last resort for some very significant financial problems. There's several factors that the seniors should consider before they apply for a reverse mortgage, and I'll kind of outline those real quickly. First of all, do they intend to stay in the house? It's critical that a senior know that their desire is to stay in that house, because if they leave the house after they've taken out a reverse mortgage, the note falls due, and then they have that financial burden. So they have to be confident that they're going to be there for the foreseeable future. And secondly, can they manage the proceeds wisely from the reverse mortgage? Now, what I'm talking about there is most seniors are looking for a lump sum, and after closing a reverse mortgage, they do indeed end up with a lot of money that they may not have had that kind of use for in the past. So it's a little bit difficult, a little bit intimidating to try to manage that sum of money. So they need to have the confidence that they can manage that. Secondly, have they discussed their needs with a financial planner who understands their personal situation, of course, and the ins and outs of a reverse mortgage?
What are the ins and outs of a reverse mortgage? I mean, for example, is it for seniors only? And I mean, what's a basic for someone who didn't know what a reverse mortgage was?
Well, of course, they have to know if they can qualify. They have to be 62 years of age, and they have to have significant equity in their home. And, of course, the home has to be in good order and appraised for a value that would support the reverse mortgage. But the ins and outs of it are the type of program that they might want to access the money through, whether they take out a lump sum or a line of credit, whether they need a term payment, a certain amount of money over a certain number of years, or a payment for the rest of their lives called a 10-year payment. And we can kind of get into those options later, but that's what I'm talking about, that a financial planner be at least somewhat lucid in approaching them, and not just have an opinion, a general opinion about reverse mortgages. That's key. And they also have to be disciplined enough, and this is very important. They have to be disciplined enough to put money away monthly to pay their property taxes and their insurance premiums. So many seniors get into trouble because in the past they have escrowed for taxes and insurance. That money's been set aside in an account by their mortgage servicer. Now that lien is paid at the reverse mortgage closing, and they are left on their own to meet that tax and insurance obligation each year. And many of them aren't disciplined enough to put that money away.
So there's no way to get an escrow account set up for that?
Currently, there isn't. I mean, because there really isn't a servicer of the loan. There's a lien holder, but not a servicer. So the lack of a servicer basically precludes that being the case. So that's key. And what we do is when we interview someone and we've decided that to move forward, we ask them to sign kind of a letter to themselves saying that I will commit to pay how much ever it is per month into a untouchable savings account somewhere, so that at the end of the year in December, when it comes time to pay property taxes, that money's there.
That's a good idea.
And when the insurance premiums are due, the money's there. But it does require discipline on their part.
Do you think that reverse mortgages have gotten a kind of a negative stigma because they have foreclosed on some seniors for not paying taxes and insurance, and it kind of makes it look like it's a kind of a shady mortgage, even though it's not? It just comes with some strings attached.
I think
some responsibility, really.
I
more
think
than strings.
There's a lot to that, and I think it's because they have been poorly counseled. In order to qualify for reverse mortgage, the senior has to go through counseling, which is basically about a 2-hour telephone call or an internet session. That it does inform them of some of the ins and outs. It gets them their certificate, but it doesn't teach them the details and how they should manage their money and how this is going to change their lives. So, as I said before, managing that large sum of money and making sure that they have the funds set aside to meet their obligations later on, that's key.
I've seen a lot of commercials on television for reverse mortgages over the years, and even some of them are kind of infomercials, and I think that drives a lot of people away from them in and of itself. And I would say for most people, any kind of mortgage you get is so important. You don't want to go to the internet for that. You want to go to someone you can be face-to-face with and talk to and really clarify all of your questions about the program that you're going to be entering.
Well, of course, I couldn't agree more with that, because I myself am a senior, and I know that, I'm very protective of my own financial situation, as most people are, and very skeptical about other people's motivations. And so I think that an individual who's looking for any mortgage, whether it's a reverse or a forward or any other financial transaction, wants to do their due diligence. And I think the best way to do that is to sit down and talk to people, look at how they stand up, maybe through the Better Business Bureau, whatever. But certainly don't trust somebody out there in cyberspace. I just can't imagine doing that. Not that they don't offer good loans, and I'm not saying that that's the case, but it's a difficult learning and educational situation for seniors, and I think that they need to gain their own confidence through personal contacts. Now,
most reverse mortgages are for refinance, but you can actually buy a new home with a reverse mortgage.
Well, that's an exciting thing for all of us in the real estate industry today. Historically, all states, with the exception of Texas, sadly, have allowed seniors to actually acquire properties with a reverse mortgage. Texas has always been very conservative in their mortgage regulations, mortgage-related regulations, and has not allowed that. But today there is a House Bill SJR 18, for those of you that want to know the details. It's a constitutional amendment proposal through the House Committee on House Investment and Financial Services that is actually passed out of committee. So this could be a very exciting opportunity for getting seniors into a home that works better for them, maybe is more energy efficient, and is accessible with the use of a reverse mortgage. That's key, because they're if they have equity in their old home and the opportunity to use a reverse to acquire a new one, in a lot of cases they can accomplish that with almost no payments, and achieve their dreams. But the last determination that I really wanted to mention is that your family has to be satisfied and well educated. Everybody has to be on board. I think that's part of that's a big part of the determinations of whether seniors ought to pursue a reverse mortgage. Everybody needs to be educated, understand the elements of a reverse mortgage, and then kind of make sure that this is the right thing for mom and dad or whoever is applying. So it's an exciting opportunity, but it's one that you have to take a very measured approach to.
Rick, there was a lot of information you put out, and how can someone get in touch with you if they want some more details?
Well, our phone number, and we're located in North Houston on 1960 in the Old Oaks area. Our phone number is 832-286-1600, and our email address, mine is rveale, that's R-V-E-A-L-E, there's an E on the end, Grandma liked it that way, so it's rveale@ameriprofunding.com. I know that's kind of a lot, but it's just like it sounds, AMERIPROFUNDING.com. And or you can call here at Register Real Estate, and they'll get a hold of me.
I think so.
Absolutely. And from our HoustonRealEstateRadio.com website, we also have links to you guys.
That's right. You're listening to Houston Real Estate Radio. Tweet us your questions at Shannon Register or at James Brown TX, or call us at 281-882-8088. Shannon and I will be right back.